Hello there, and welcome to Stage 1 of May the 18th. We're taking on Dr. T here, and I am fully boosted. There was a bit of a map clear. Maybe some things happened, but we're here fully boosted to finish off Dr. T. Stage 1, pretty easy. Land your guys all on the, or ladies, all on the right-hand side. Let them just kind of drift up there, and they will take out some free GBE buildings. Then they will move up towards the machine guns and stuff, flare where I flared, and they will naturally kind of move in towards the HQ. The stuff on the left-hand side, don't worry about it. It's not going to affect you. Stage 2, same deal. Land, right-hand side. They should naturally start moving up towards the bunker. Now I'm just gonna start tossing stuff on the HQ, but by all means, obviously, if you don't have the ability to do so, let them take out the bunker, take out the goo. They'll move up towards the rocket launchers, and then the stuff on the left-hand side, mostly out of range, easy win. Stage 3, boom cannon. Oh shit, it's got over 6,000 hit points. Blow it up. Obvi. Regardless of how you do it. The good news is, once that thing is down, smooth sailing. Land your guys right-hand side. Ladies, right-hand side. Flare up to... I might even say a little bit further up than where I actually flared. Basically what you want to do is put yourself in line with the sniper tower machine gun so that your tanks kind of come in from the side. And what they can do is kind of pick off those defenses on the way to the HQ without having, you know, other defenses getting in the way and doing silly things. So you can come in and the tanks will naturally sort of drift through the defenses there. And once they take out that sniper tower, they'll just move on to the HQ. You can take out the rocket launcher if you really want with some GBE, but I don't know if there's any point, honestly. I landed medics just in case, and, you know, no. So, take out the HQ, move on to Stage 4, get more loot. Stage 4 is... I say trickier, but only because it's kind of front-loaded with a lot of shocks. Wow, that was difficult to get out. Front-loaded with a lot of shocks. Peter Piper told me something. So, if you land, I guess it would be sort of middle-ish. You could take out the machine gun and the cannon there, to bolster your GBE a little bit, but depending on, obviously, if you're landing a full complement, it's going to be a little trickier because things aren't going to be everywhere and things and stuff. So, try to do your best to land everyone. Now, one shock will take out both cannons and the sniper tower, so if your guys are kind of spread out, at least you can take out the dangerous stuff. Now, once the cannons are cleared as much as they can be, one shock will take out all the defenses over on this right-hand side. Now, the machine guns, I'm not gonna lie to you, have a buttload, like a freaking buttload of HP. I don't know where they get off having so much HP, but they're a pain in the arse. Also, sorry about the critters, kind of force a habit because of the cannon. You know, I was in map clearing mode, so I was just like, throw everything, I've got GBE. I apologize. Obviously, if you don't have critters, you don't have to throw those critters. It just might mean that your tanks take a few extra hits from the cannon. And then I wimped out and I landed in medics again, because I was like, oh my god, my tanks are dying. But really, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think you need to. I don't think that the medics were really needed. Like, it's one rocket launcher, a little bit of GBE would have easily kind of cleared it out. And I was, you know, I'm pretty sure once you get up into this little sweet spot right here, the only thing that can hit you is that rocket launcher, and you can basically hit cruise and just ride it out to the loot pinata. So we will nuke the crap out of this HQ, which is my equivalent of landing landing Zookas. And honestly, it has a fairly decent amount of hit points. Like, I dumped a lot of GBE into that thing, and it died, but yeah, it would have taken a while, let's say. Which will take us to Stage 5, which is a fun stage, because there are crazy rocket launchers. And I did something weird that I normally don't do. I went after the rocket launchers. So I tossed a few artilleries, and I've tossed a few more. Now, they're so low, I didn't have the heart to do any more. But by all means, like, assuming the levels of your artillery and barrage are a little lower, you don't have to leave them alive. Like, the goal is to kill them. I just didn't want to waste the GBE to actually kill them. Now, when you get up to the left-hand side here, one shock will take out the cannon, the sniper tower behind, which isn't even really an issue. I don't think it has range even yet, but it'll also stun some of those rocket launchers. And basically what I did was, like, I wanted to take out these rocket launchers because there's so many of them, and they're a pretty high level for, you know, having so many of them grouped together. They'll definitely grind on your tanks, not in the good, like, you know, Montreal stripper way, but on the bad, like, I've got sand in my eye way. So we're going to move in from the left-hand side and just kind of clear things out as we go. And I started tossing GBE just to make life a little easier, but obviously, by all means, you don't have to. You can let your tanks actually wear that sniper tower down. I'm just trying to make my life a little easier so that I can continue filming or recording or whatever without having to worry about losing a tank and spending diamonds and, you know, all that good stuff. So once you take out the sniper towers just south of the HQ, you can flare up into the top left, and again, I'm just trying to save tanks. You don't have to throw these healing med kits. But you should only have the one rocket launcher that can even shoot at you, and 2 boats of medics should have no problem counteracting that and keeping your tanks standing. And Stage 5 bites the dust. There's a song about that, I think. Anyways, Stage 6 is really interesting. There is a boom cannon, okay, but there's all of these machine guns and flamethrowers and wonderful things sitting up in the front just to give us free GBE. So by all means, start roaming up the right-hand side. Now, when I landed, I don't know if it was very obvious, but I kind of landed my tanks up closer towards the defenses, and then my medics kind of in a second row behind the tanks, hoping that the medics would just kind of, you know, run in behind the tanks and be safe. It worked out pretty good because I didn't actually lose any medics, and there were a lot of machine guns that had range on the beach, but whatevs. Anyways, go towards the right-hand side, obviously. I threw some extra artilleries just to weaken up those sniper towers, take out some cannons, because there is like a chain of cannons that could do pretty nasty things if they got their cannons. They wouldn't have hands. If they got their barrels on our tanks, that sounds inappropriate. It sounds like something she said. Alright, so one shock, beautiful, just south of the HQ, will knock out pretty much everything. And you can just let your tanks kind of spread out and do this wall of ass whoop. But be careful, or wary, of that boom cannon that's still standing. Yes, it's out of range if you're in a good place and shooting at the HQ. Yes, it's in range if you let your tanks wander. Something about tanks wandering in the woods, which is gingerbread houses, I don't know. So, throw a stun down on the trifecta of sniper towers. They're the only things that can really hurt you. There's also a mortar and rocket launcher. Like, they will do extra damage, but like, basically stun those back defenses if you can until your tanks are able to take down the HQ, and hopefully you should have a nice easy go of that. Now, same sort of setup where I drop my tanks sort of to the front, and I drop my medic sort of to the back. And then I also smoked this time on the left-hand side to make sure everybody ran over to the right-hand side and actually got there. And then start clearing things out on the right-hand side. I really messed up with my first shock there, so by all means you should be able to hit a few extra things with that first shock, which will make your landing a little bit easier, and hopefully make things not die as quickly. You know, it's one of those things, right? Once we clear up the front, flare all the way to the right, and there's this big open field that apparently Dr. T just left for us to play around in. So I started tossing some GBE up at the sniper towers slash cannons slash all the scary stuff up there in the corner where I'm eventually going to want to put my tanks. And then I flared up to the very tippity top just to group my guys up away from the extra cannons, because honestly they don't need to be shot by more cannons than absolutely necessary. And the nice thing is, by throwing out those barrages and artilleries and stuff, everything up here is just a little bit weakened, so I just tossed up a set of critters. My level 1 critters, so it's not even like there's a whole bunch of them. And my tanks were able to use that to kind of roll in and take everything out. And then what I do is I flare up into the top corner again, and let all of my tanks take shots at the HQ, while I basically stun lock all these defenses just behind the HQ, because, well, I can. And basically it's a race to take things out, but it's really not that scary. And admittedly, if you don't have the GBE and you can't keep things shocked the whole time, you're going to lose some tanks, but you're still going to get a win. So, you know, it's worth it. Anyways, aside from getting my fat loots, this game is over. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully this helped you guys out. Most importantly, have a great day, and please leave me comments, tips, hits, tricks, everything down underneath.